Good evening and welcome to the Financial Week. I'm Javon Keys. The government earned more money than was budgeted for April to July this year. The Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, gave the update at a press briefing on Friday. EPOC Chairman Keith Duncan says total revenue and grants going to the government were valued at $301 billion for April to July. This was 4.5% or $12.9 billion more than the projected income.
Tax revenues being at $270.8 billion and non-tax revenues at $27.5 billion. Tax revenues actually surpassed budget by $3.7 billion or 1.4% for the review period. This was primarily due to stronger than expected total income and profits, which was $5.5 billion higher than budget. You will recall that at the end of March, income and profits were below budget as corporate income taxes were lower than targeted at the end of March.
The performance was tempered by lower than projected inflows from production and consumption, along with international trade. Mr. Duncan says a key tax linked to tourist arrivals was also behind budget.
Notably, travel tax with inflows of $9.5 billion was $2.1 billion behind target, reflecting slower than projected visitor arrivals. This was, however, positively impacted, that is non-tax revenue, positively impacted by the drawdown of the government of Jamaica insurance policies with the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. So non-tax revenue exceeded budget by $7 billion.
As for government spending,
at $336 billion, $6.2 billion behind budget, but actually $37.1 billion higher than the total spending for April to July 2023. Right, there was lower than projected spending in the recurrent budget. Total recurrent spending was for April to July was $32.4 billion, and this was due to higher program spending and increased wage bill consequent on the public sector compensation.
Capital expenditure, that is, funding for roads and other projects, was behind budget by $986 million, coming in at $19.4 billion. Mr. Duncan was speaking at the EPOC quarterly press briefing Friday morning. To other news now, Sidney Thwaites has been re-elected president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA. The organization held its annual general meeting on Thursday. Mr. Thwaites is co-founder and chief executive officer of Lubricating Specialties Company Jamaica. His second term will be for the 2024 to 2025 period. In his acceptance speech, Mr. Thwaites said despite the ongoing challenges facing the sector, he is optimistic about the future. Also re-elected was Catherine Silvera, who retained her position as deputy president. Robert Scott, who completed his term as treasurer, was succeeded by Damian Dodd from Musson Group. There were also 5 newly elected directors. Let's head to the markets now. The Jamaican dollar lost 6 cents in value by the close of trading compared to the U.S. currency. Banks and cambios are selling the American dollar for an average $158.56. The Canadian is going for $117.07. $207.71 is the average value of the pound, while the euro is trading for $171.80. To the stock market, the JSE index lost 2,784 points today, while the junior market index declined by 6 points. Among the 37 winners were Epley Caribbean Property Fund, I Create, Salada Foods Jamaica, Elite Diagnostic and Main Event Entertainment Group. The 45 losers included Guardian Holdings, MFS Capital Partners, Knutsford Express Services, G-West Corporation, and Lasco Financial Services. 15 stocks closed the session, selling at the same price they started trading. And that's the Financial Week. I'm Javon Keys. Good evening. Please stay with us. Regional and international news, that's after the break.